Streaming is sure to play a big role in Disney's long-anticipated $8.5 billion media merger with India's Reliance. The newly inked tie-up creates an entertainment giant with more than 100 TV channels, control of key sports rights, including cricket, and a substantial subscription base. The new Disney Reliance Vice Chair, Uday Shankar, joins us now. Uday, good to have you with us, and congratulations on the deal. You know, in your words, it is a monster deal. I'm just wondering, how much will it change the game for you? How much will it influence the landscape for the industry?
Thank you, Slinda. Good to be here. We are the industry, you know, given how big the business is. On day one, we'll be reaching out to 750 million people in India. So the industry will be what we do, and that is why we are extremely focused on innovation all around, in content, in distribution, in consumer experience, and in monetization models. So I'm really hoping that now that we have the responsibility of guiding and shaping the media industry in this country for a number of years, we do a good job of it.
How do you reinvent? How do you make the markets bigger? I mean, that's a goal for you.
You make the market bigger by not looking at the market as one monolithic, homogeneous entity, because there are many Indias in India. And the television business that both Star, Disney built and Viacom built, it was built on the back of looking at India in its constituent parts and creating solutions, content and consumer solutions for each of those parts. And I think with digital technology, we have an opportunity to take that initiative much deeper. So when we are talking about 750 million people out of 1.4 billion people in this country, we are talking about creating, content and consumer solutions for literally hundreds of cohorts, and that's something that's not been done. It's still very much in its first phase. When the big streaming companies look at this market, they have still targeted the top 100 million people, whereas India is way bigger than its top 100 million people.
Uday, are you clipped in any way? Because the deal was cleared by the regulator with some strings attached, with some restrictions. Will those restrictions impede you in maximizing the revenue potential, for instance?
Look, the regulator did what it felt in its wisdom was the right thing to do in order to protect fair market competitive values. I think there are some restrictions that have been placed, and those put serious discipline on how we operate. But they'll also force us to be more creative, more innovative, and come out with newer solutions.
Some of your competitors have said that perhaps, you may have a big market share, but in terms of, the ad sales, ad revenue that you'll get is just going to be marginally higher. How do you respond to that?
We will, if you look at status quo, then probably that argument can be made. But that's exactly the strategy or the philosophy behind this combination. We've come together not to just incrementally do the same things more or better. We have come together to review everything that's been done or done so far and disrupt that. And one key part of that is how you monetize. I think media companies in India and globally have been very lazy in innovating on monetization models. Even companies that have completely transformed or revolutionized consumer experience, distribution, etc., they still stick to the same format of selling a subscription and selling advertising of video ads. I think there is a lot of innovation in that. Technology today allows you to do that. Consumers are open or receptive to those new innovation models. And there are enough people who are willing to take their message to those consumers and who are willing to pay if you're willing to be innovative. And I think you will see a lot of focus in our company, in JioStar, the new company that's been created, a lot of focus on innovations in the business models.
So how soon do you think you'll see the impact? How soon will you see the numbers? How soon will you see that increase in ad revenue, for instance? And what kind of numbers are you anticipating?
Shareholders are not very patient. So we are working on a very aggressive timeline. But I'm talking about some really serious interventions which require interventions in technology and in the business model, getting the market ready. So it will still take some time. But we have a very aggressive agenda and we are working overtime. And I think the upsides will be visible real soon. And when I talk about those upsides, I talk about upside on the streaming side as well as on the television side, because I'm not one of those who believe that television is already dead in India. I think there is a narrative that's been sort of imbibed by everyone that television is dead, and hence people have already stopped feeding television. Not so in this country. I think television still has strong legs, and it has a fair distance to run, and we'll continue to provide it with the nutrition to run.
You're confident about the streaming business. Talk to us about the potential. How are you going to go about doing it and building and ensuring that you have the growth that you want? What's the strategy? What's the model will you be adopting?
I can't be discussing the entire business model with you for two reasons. One, I don't want to, and two, it's still in evolution, to be honest. However, I have to tell you, look, Reliance has been at the forefront of whatever value Reliance has created, in my view, has created that with two very clear focuses. One is disrupting the status quo, and two is to create products and solutions that are available, interesting, and affordable for the broad masses of this country. And I think that's exactly been my journey in the past. I don't believe in creating solutions for the top tier of Indian society. The value in India comes from its 1.4 billion people. The irony is everybody talks about the 1.4 billion people, and when they start designing their strategy, they all look at the top 200 or 300 million people. We are very focused in this JV that we will take our services, especially our streaming products. Television is already distributed, right, but we will definitely take our streaming products to the lowest echelons of Indian society and make it, create offerings that are attractive and affordable to all of them. So we are looking at really taking a large slice of India.
So you're not looking at premium subscription model per se?
I'm not looking to limit ourselves to premium subscription models only.
Let's take a look about competition. You say you're so big, you're a monster, and there is no competition. Isn't there? I mean, what about Netflix? What about Amazon? I mean, that's fierce competition for you. How are you intending to perhaps, ease that stranglehold they have on the OTT market?
So first and foremost, we are not a monster. I don't see ourselves as monsters. We if you reach out to 750 million people, you definitely have scale. But coming to your question, Haslinda, I think these are great companies. They're doing a great job, but they have a very different business model, and they are targeting a very different India. As I told you, we are not looking at a slice of India. We are looking at all parts of India. We truly want to create a service that, on the streaming side, we truly want to create a service that's an alternative to television. So as and when people want to look at screens beyond fixed television sets, we are always there. The connected TV revolution in India is growing every day. We want to be present everywhere, and we are already there on linear TV. So I think our business is very different, our focus is very different, and our ambitions are very different from all these companies that you talked about.
You talked about how it's early days yet. It's hard to say, but you have some growth plans. And considering the growth plans that you have, do you see additional investment in it? We know that Mukesh Ambani, for instance, has suggested a willingness to perhaps, part with an additional $1 billion.
I don't know what $1 billion you're talking about. The JV has been adequately capitalized right in the beginning. And I think we have enough resources to fund our ambitions. And we are hoping that we won't need more money. But I think the shareholders are very committed to see this venture through and invest whatever is required.
And as you talk about expansion, are you also looking at consolidation? Give us a sense of whether or not we can expect job losses. When you see mergers, you usually see some consolidation measures being implemented.
Look, it's unfortunate, but if there are two people for the same job, there is not enough space for everybody. So there may be some impact. But we have such an aggressive growth agenda that we think we'll be able to absorb most of the people, and we'll continue to hire as we go along. In fact, if anything, talent is a requirement that we struggle every day to meet, because we want to grow so much. And this is a business which is all about, which is built fundamentally in people's minds. And for that, you need great minds. So we think that we are already a talent magnet, and we think we will continue to hire at a very aggressive pace.
Right now, the merchant entity is a big player in pretty much the cricket streaming as well as broadcasting space. But I know right now it's costing quite a bit of money. How do you intend to reverse that model? How do you intend to address it? Because we know that in terms of what it's costing, it's about $1 billion a year. That's a high cost.
It's costing more than $1 billion a year, and that's very high cost. And that, you have 1.4 billion people who can't get enough of cricket in this country. And so we just need to find, I think the monetization of cricket is limited by the ideation in the advertising and distribution space. I think if we expand the reach of cricket even more, and I think if we open up the universe of potential advertisers who can have access to the cricket audiences, there is significant growth possible. But you are right, there are a lot of, there is a lot of stress on account of the cricket rights.